What's up?
Bro, I like that song, man.
I want to play that back when I was 17 years old, and I had two 15-inch Sherwin Vegas in the back of my Explorer.
Damn.
And that thing bumped. That song right there. My parents would have heard me coming from blocks away.
Oh, man. I could only afford like hand-me-down kicker 12s back in the day, man, with a crappy amp. But I got the job done. My trunk was rattling, man. My Ford Escort was rattling down the road.
Man, I got my windows bashed out and that system stolen. Oh man, yeah.
Oh man, well that's how you start a live cast. I'm saying that. So that's the song that you start on your Fescue Freaks, Oli. Your little countdown.
Yeah,
there?
but I got a little video, but I need to work on it because it's 4K, and when I play it, it looks really good on my end. But it's not uploading too well, so I got to figure some stuff out.
Yeah, man, just make it 1080 or whatever and see how that goes. Export that shit.
Me and tech don't work real well, but I try.
YouTube. YouTube it.
I'll have to figure it out. Yeah.
So let's explain what's going on, guys. Just, I mean, in the very generic sense of kind of what's going on. Why are we here? Why are we not on KOTG tonight?
Full transparency. We just aren't able to get on the show. The three of us have been kind of active in the chat. Zach and Brian have been busy, and so Brent. He's here and there. I think when he has time, he'll jump on, but he doesn't have the ability to run the show. Thankfully, Oli's got his Fescue Freak, so here we are. The three of us are able to make it on tonight. So I don't know. Maybe this is a transitional episode, you guys. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, so we don't have the passwords to KOTG. We can't get logged in. We can't make links. So we've been trying the last several weeks to get everything set up, guys. And that's last week we thought we had a show and couldn't get it going, couldn't get the passwords. So it's been a long process, but the three of us made the decision that, you know what, we want to talk about grass. We want to keep going. We want to keep chatting with you guys. So, we had to flip the channels to the old Fescue Freak right here, which I am not a Fescue Freak. I'm a bluegrass freak. But so we switched it over to this channel, and we're going to kind of do the KOTG show and
how about that?
Kind of talk about what we've been doing and what we got going on with Oli here on his channel. But
we did a freak show.
Bill, I know you had some sweat equity this weekend.
Yeah, I was actually saying I'm going to be stretching a little bit here throughout the show. My legs, my ass, and my biceps. My hands are so tight. Forearms, man. It was a busy weekend, but got it all done. I was telling my wife initially, oh yeah, I think we'll have Monday. We can just kind of hang out Monday. I think Saturday, Sunday is all it'll take. Hell no, man. I was there till like almost 7:00 Sunday night getting things wrapped up, man. But I got it all done. So it was a big full weekend. And I think I did it right. So I'm excited to see how it goes. And we can go through kind of some of the stuff that I did, but and you also, you had your big weekend of doing all your fun stuff too. So I'm excited to kind of hear about what all you did to your yard. But
yeah, for sure. Bill, you kick it off. I'm just going to talk about what you did. Kind of go through your sequence of events. Was it a full kill off? Was it an overseed? What was your purpose? What were you trying to achieve? And then, some products you use, some equipment you use. Yeah, and timeline. I think timeline's interesting because I think everyone's got a different timeline. I know I ran into the same thing. So it's 9:06 here. I came inside tonight at 8:45, finishing everything. But like I said, I'll get to mine and talk about that. But yeah, go ahead and walk through kind of what your Labor Day.
Yeah, so I knew going into the fall that I wanted to do some top dressing, especially to fill in the trenches that had sunken in from putting in my irrigation last summertime. And with that, I figured, since I'm going to be doing some of that, I might as well fill in some other areas that I know kind of aggravate me or kind of sunken in, some stuff like that. So I wanted to get enough topsoil to kind of do some general leveling. I knew, it wouldn't be, like a super flat, like your yard yet, Nate, but this would kind of be my first time of really kind of seeing how I can do dragging stuff around the whole yard. And I really wanted to try to get some heavy equipment. I don't have a zero turn. I don't have a rider. I don't have a tractor, just have my mower. So I was trying to think, how can I take advantage of something like a big drag So thankfully, a friend of mine is interested in doing his yard a little bit too. So we together got an aerator. He's got a trailer. He's got a zero turn.
Nice.
So we were able to kind of tag team it where he would be out there aerating and doing things in his yard, and I'd have his tractor or our place or his mower at our place, and had the Landsy drag and would pull that around. So that was my intention, to really kind of do some leveling there. So I got 6 yards of topsoil. Last year I had 3 yards in addition to trying to fill in my trenches from the stuff that was already there. A lot of it got washed out with rain and kind of caked in. So definitely needed to bring in that extra topsoil to kind of fill it in. And even with that, they really kind of still sunk in and settled in. So 6 yards this year, I knew it was going to be a lot, but also knowing that I was going to have this drag to kind of spread it around versus trying to use like a leveling rake that I did last year, which was like killer. So I wasn't as intimidated by having 6 yards of topsoil. It would be a lot of shoveling, but getting spread around wasn't going to be as big of a deal. So basically started off Saturday morning bright and early, got up, got the mower out, Time Master, cut it one way, dropped the deck a little bit more, cut it again, drop the deck as low as can go, cut it a third time, bagging it each time. And that, I mean, God, man, I bought one of these Bagster things. I don't know if you guys have heard of them, but they're like $30 at Home Depot to buy the bag. And then there's some service, some company, you go on their website, Bagster, whatever, put in your zip code, and they'll find somebody local that for $200, they'll come and pick it up and take it away. So I was going to pull out stuff in the mulch beds, get all the rocks and old mulch and things out, in which we started some of that, but there's just so much that we had to abandon that project and start focusing on the lawn for now, because I can come back to the mulch beds later. But thankfully I have that thing, because I filled that whole thing up with grass and then went back with the Ryobi aerator on the lawn and used the scarifying blades on it and went through the whole yard and pulled up so much stuff. I mean, so much got ripped up. It was great. I could really see, you know, the soil from going real low in the mower, hitting it with that scarifying blades. Pulled up so much stuff that I think, you know, there's some ryegrass and bluegrass and stuff in there really just matted down, you know, that would never really stand up straight. It was just all kind of in itself. So that really tore it up great. And then went back over it again with the mower to kind of bag all that shit up. So basically went over the lawn 5 times on Saturday, and I was exhausted so that was basically all I got to on Saturday, was cutting the grass 5 times, bagging it every single time. Went back, scalped the backyard. I blew a fuse or something on the Ryobi thing. So by the time I got to the backyard, that thing didn't work anymore. So I don't know if I just have to buy a new fuse or if the whole thing is just crapped out now, but that's like a $350 thing. It works great, but hopefully
does it have a reset? Does it have like a little white reset button anywhere on it?
No, it's got like this little red key where I think it was like melted in there, and I popped it out, and it looks like a fuse type key thing. So I'm hoping I can just replace that and stick it back in there. But if the whole thing needs to be replaced, I might just have to see if it's under warranty or something still, because I just got it last year. So it may still be under warranty. I don't know, but it worked great until it died. So thankfully I got the whole front yard done before I went to the back. And by then I was like, oh, it won't turn on. This sucks. So I just aerated the backyard. So day 2 was Sunday. Boys and I got outside and started shoveling dirt and spreading that around, you know, filling up the Gorilla cart and making piles all over the yard. So that basically took almost the entire day. And then Monday morning, got out there, knocked some of those down, got the zero turn out, hooked up the Landsy drag to it, and ran that thing around for an hour. I was out there. I set up my phone on top of the minivan, took like a time lapse of it, and looked at the time. I was like, oh, it was like 57 minutes on this thing. Shit. So I zipped through it. I can see it because I was all over the place, man. My yard is not big enough to do a nice tight turns on a zero turn with that drag behind it. So there's no way I was going to make like really nice even. So I'm just doing figure eights and trying to hit everywhere I can. Areas that I see where there's a little bit more dirt than I want, I kind of go over those real slow. I used some bricks from my mulch beds to kind of weigh it down, which worked out great. I was going to maybe go get something from Home Depot, but I was like, shit, let's just try these things out. And they fit perfectly on that drag now. So, you know, down the road, I know what to use that would fit perfect on there if I need to do that again. But went over it over and over again. And man, I worked that soil in. That 6 yards of topsoil didn't go as far as I thought it would. I thought I'd have some left over to kind of do some grading around my mulch beds, but there was none left. So I worked that all in really good. My fear was that I got too much soil and there wouldn't be enough, grass popping up. But by the time I did all that, a lot of grass, was kind of still popping up there, that was, would probably just come back to life once I, give it the water and fertilizer and stuff in time. And then, let's see, hit it with the aerator. You guys had to do the, try to top dress it first. So I did that. I didn't go over it with the roller. I just dragged over and over and over again. Then I hit it with the aerator. Then, and I went over and over and over again. And that was awesome. I mean, the front was so nice and soft. Like it was great. It got, went all over the place, real heavy. And then, seed, fertilizer, or no, seed first, real heavy on the seed.
What'd you use?
I did the Artemis. I went with that this year. I was debating doing the Black Beauty game, but I thought, you know what? I've heard so many good things. I've got some TikTok funds built up. Let's go big dog style and get this blue tag stuff for once and see how it goes. And my kind of justification there was I was going to really tear up the yard heavy, and I wanted to put some real good, quality fescue in to see how that does. So I'm excited to see how it does. Put that down. The same buddy of mine that has the zero turn also had like a chain link fence kind of drag. So that's what I used. Went over the lawn a few times with that front and back after putting the seed down and aerating, just to kind of work it in real soft. Then I put fertilizer down, and then I ran the sprinklers to let that kind of work it in initially. And, this morning, everything was kind of watered in nice. The dirt seems to have settled really good. So I don't think I'm going to come back and do any peat moss or anything later. I think I'm just going to let this Irrigreen do I got it at not a 1/10 of an inch, but a 20th of an inch, because I have it, like you were saying, Nate, we were talking earlier about, there's a setting on there where it can alternate, because it's got the way the Irrigreen is, it's got those individual streams of water. Sometimes the spacing between them is a bit much, so you'll have some dry spots in between, but you can have it where it kind of alternates. So each pass, it kind of splits the difference, so you kind of mix up that little gap there. But that doubles the time around. So even though it says you're putting down a 1/10 of an inch, you're actually putting down 2/10 of an inch. Is that right?
No. So if you have it, so each revolution is 0.05 inches of rain.
Okay.
So if you put it at 0.1,
that's 2 times around.
That's 2 times around, and then it's going to add a one more revolution. So at the half distance. So 0.1 would put down 0.15. If you wanted to put down 0.5 inches, it would, and you have that feature turned on, then it would add 0.25 to that. So it's going to add half as much.
Okay. Well, we'll see how it goes. I'll start off with that. Our weather is really cool. It was like 60 this morning, and it was like mid 70s today. So I looked at the whole week coming up and like, man, I'm kind of glad I did it as early as I did, because this cooler weather, if it's going to stay this way for any length of time these next few weeks, I'm glad I did what I did. I'm sure it'll get warm again, coming up here soon, but I'm glad I got everything down. I haven't set up the sprinklers in the backyard yet. I took everything down, moved all the hoses out so that I could do all the aerating and mowing, aerating seed and everything, put the fertilizer down. And I have to hook up my Melnor timer, put my sprinklers back. I wanted to cut the hoses because they're like super long, like 100-foot hoses that don't need to be that long. So I was just going to cut them, and I bought some replacement little hose end things to kind of clamp back down and basically get them at the appropriate length. So I'm not losing any pressure or anything for this unnecessarily long hose. It's sitting on the lawn or making a mess of our back porch. The kids will still want to play out there, even if they're not on the grass. So I'll do that probably tomorrow after football practice or something. And then let the sprinklers do their thing back there too. So, at this point, fingers crossed, I think I did all the right things. The lawn looks real nice and flat now. There probably will be some more settling. There's some areas that kind of are really sunken in from the way our gutters drain. So until I come up with a more permanent solution, I just filled that in as best I could, tamped it down real hard with this little kind of malady, flat press thing. Put in some more dirt around my water well from my meter pit and everything that kind of sunk in a little bit from last year. And I want it to be built up, so essentially I can just kind of mow right over top of it. So we'll see, there may be some more yet to do next year. But I think we're making progress for sure.
Did you put down any fertilizer yet?
I did
fertilizer or anything?
I was going to get like Earthworks and stuff, but I just ran out of time. Was afraid that if I were to order it online, it just wouldn't get here in time. So I just went to Home Depot and got the Let's Go starter fertilizer bag, put that down. I had some leftover Anderson's mesotrione starter fertilizer, but I gave that to my buddy because he's got this big open field. Basically, his entire yard is what my backyard looks like. So I was like, you know what? Let's put it on your yard because, I want yours to be hopefully successful and not super weed infested. If that will give some kind of edge, because if my backyard gets all weedy, I personally won't be discouraged. I'll just do it better next year. But if he gets discouraged, I'm like, oh crap, he's looking for me for advice, and I'm the farm dad and whatnot. So I was like, you could have the tenacity in your fertilizer. I'll take the Let's Go from Home Depot. So that's all I used front and back was one big 50-pound bag of that to go between the both front and back. So it's probably a little bit light, honestly, on the square footage. It's about a 9,000 square foot yard. It was supposed to be a 10,000 square foot bag. Most of it went in the front. Whatever was left went in the back. So we'll see how it goes. I think the water will be the most important thing. I hit it real hard with the aerator. I was watering it 60 minutes twice a day for the 3 or 4 days leading up to doing all that, knowing that it needed some water in that area. So it got some, it made some holes. I don't think it pulled a bunch of really sweet plugs like it would in a nice yard, but it definitely punched holes in the yard and opened some things up, I think.
Yeah. So we were talking about sprinklers and seeding, and that's a good topic right there. That could be a whole show almost. But with Irrigreen, you can set the amount of water you want to put down, the times you want to do. What are you using? What's your watering program that you're going to go with?
My plan is basically the same thing that I've done in all my previous yards because I've used these Melnors in the past. I'm thinking in my head, our water pressure in this house is probably ballpark the same as it's been elsewhere. If I'm wrong, whatever. I'll probably do 15 minutes each zone 4 times a day, maybe 3 times a day to start out with, maybe, because it's the backyard, it gets the sun, second half of the day. So not as much in the morning. So maybe do once late morning, then do another one after lunchtime, and then another one late afternoon, maybe 5 or 6 in the afternoon for 15, 20 minutes in the big open area. Some of the spots in the backyard, I don't think are going to do all that great. I didn't have a ton of seed left over to hit it real heavy. I went over, as you come up along the side of the house, we're going downhill because it's a walkout. Those parts of the area, if they don't do great, it is what it is. I just like the big main area to get the most water sprinkler coverage and hopefully turn out the best because that's where the kids would play. So that'll be the main focus, and that's where most of the sun is going to hit anyway for stuff to grow really well. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Grace had a good question for you.
Yeah. I was just going to bring that one up. Grace got a good question for you there on the screen, Bill.
So what kind of soil did I put down? I just did screen topsoil. We had talked, I think, if it was last week, maybe not last week, the week before, we were talking about the same thing. You guys had mentioned asking if they had different grades or different levels of screen, and this place doesn't. And at this point, I'd ordered it from them before. I'd already priced everything out. I wasn't going to be like, oh, let me call around. I was like, you know what? It was fine. And it actually turned out pretty good. There wasn't too much chunks of things in there. It was actually pretty nice. The bummer of it was, came in on Thursday. We were supposed to get some rain Thursday, but it got kicked back to Friday. Got some rain Friday night. I had a tarp that I put over it, but it wasn't big enough to cover the whole thing. So like around the outside of it was a little wet and goopy. But as the day went on, that dried out. We scooped it up fine, dumped it on the soil. That shoveling, scooping piles took so long to do both sides of the yard and then take some to the flower bed, whatever was left over, that we let it sit out overnight. And by the time Monday morning came around, it was, dry enough to where, it was no problem to break it up. So just regular old screen topsoil is what I used, and, hit it hard enough with the drag enough times that it worked into the soil. Like I was, that was my fear, is that, I needed to add sand or something to get it to kind of level out. But man, this thing just over and over and over again worked great. Just keep going back and forth, looping around, go slow. If you want to scoop up more, go faster. If you want it to just kind of bounce around a little bit more and drop some more. And yeah, it was awesome. By the time I was done, I felt like I was old. I was like, man, I was taking the kids around the neighborhood. They had them in the trailer in the back, zooming them around. It was an X mark something or other. I don't know what size or model number, but yeah, it was pretty sweet. I was like, man, I know the appeal for these mowers now for sure. This thing is fun.
So when did you start watering? Was it Sunday on the front?
I did like a quick run on each zone in the front that night. Like after I was all done, I kind of hit each zone one time. And then Monday morning I set up, I was like, okay, before work, let me start figuring out what my schedule is going to be. So I got it set up now to run 3 times a day, putting down a 20th, a 0.05, but it's doing that double cycle. So it's maybe just shy of a tenth of an inch like that, or whatever.
Well, what I was told is if you have it set at 0.05, it will not run a double cycle.
Oh, well, okay. Well, then maybe I'll bump it up to 0.1 then, because I only got it running 3 times.
Yeah, you have to have 0.1 for it to work, is what he told me.
When I look at the time, the entire time it takes to run each of these cycles is like 47 minutes. So it's not putting down very much at all. Yeah. Normally when I have it running for like half an inch, it's running for like 3.5 hours or something, 3.5 plus to get all that down for the day. Yeah. So maybe I'll put it up to 0.1 and we'll just see how that goes. If it stays cool enough, maybe I can get away with just 2 cycles for now and then bump it up to 3 as the weather gets warmer.
Yeah. One thing you might want to consider is
you think you'll have germination by Thursday, or is it going to be Friday?
Man, last year I was pretty impressed with how quickly my Black Beauty germinated. So, if I start seeing little babies popping up within a week, I wouldn't be totally surprised. I mean, I would be like super happy, but I wouldn't be like super shocked either. So, I'm anxiously waiting to see. But yeah, I mean, I think a few days of getting some water on there and some sunlight and getting some warmth there,
So the mix that you had last year, did it have rye in it?
No, this was their Black Beauty original. So it was like I think it was like a 3 or 4 way blend. I used some left over in the backyard. I might have the bag somewhere, but
I know one of those mixes. One of those mixes has rye in it, and it's like, just instant gratification.
Yeah, I think their Black Beauty Ultra has a little bit of rye and a little bit of bluegrass mixed in there, mostly fescue, but a little bit of each. So yeah, you probably do see some of that. But it popped up pretty quick last year too, and it was just their original. So it was pretty quick.
I think 4 or 5 days you're going to see some sprouts in 4 or 5 days, as far as the moisture stays there.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, basically now, wait and see. Fingers crossed. The Let's Go fertilizer, it says it's a slow release, so I'm not sure like what mechanism, whatnot, but I can still see there's pellets everywhere on the ground, or on top of the dirt, because that's the last thing I put down. So I'm sure over time those will start to kind of dissolve or what have you with each little run of sprinklers. So yeah, give it time, and then there'll be some food in the soil too.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
All right,
Nate.
Yeah. So
how was your weekend, man?
It was good. It was busy. Kind of the same thing. I was more wanting to address some of my low spots for my irrigation install. Not a ton. I didn't really need to do a ton of leveling, but just some stuff when I put my sod back on. It did, it wasn't too level and some bumps as I'm mowing. But so I did the same thing. I started out mowing low, bagging everything, putting it in the back of my truck, and that, it turns into so much. So mowed it down. I went down to about 1.5 inches is where I got mine down to. It actually looked pretty good the first day I mowed it. I was like, man, my wife comes out. She's like, I like it like this. And I'm like, oh no. So I don't know. I might try and keep it a little lower than normal for the rest of the year. But so then after I did that, I used the solid tine spike aerator from Landsea, and just spiked the living hell out of my yard. Just, did it really hard, and then dethatched on the front here, like this whole area right here. I used the Sunjo dethatcher, and on my boulevards as well, and just really, really went deep, really tore into it pretty good, get some of that out of there. And then the rest of it, I just did the pull behind from my neighbor. It's not as effective, but I just kept going and going and going. It got quite a bit out. By the end of the day, my truck bed was, overflowing with grass, and, that was the next day. So then, that grass is sitting in there for a day or two, and grass just stinks.
Oh man. My front yard right now is horrible.
Yeah. So you got like
my driveway
smelled horrible. And so I mowed everything, and I collected all those clippings and threw them in there. Then I dethatched everything, and I put that in there as well. So like yesterday when I was trying to dump it, I mean, that shit was like steaming. You know what I mean? Because it was like it was so hot.
It's green. It's green. So if you had some browns, you could really make some compost. But there's a lot of energy in those clippings.
Yeah. I mean, it was really warm. But then, and the other thing was, like, as it sat there in my driveway, like I had like a pool of just grass juice in my driveway. It stunk so bad, and I'm like, I gotta get this dumped. So
I got some serious pressure washing I'm gonna have to do here once my grass is big enough. My front driveway is a mess.
Yeah,
yeah, so I know what that is.
So I got that all done, but yeah, so I did, like I said, dethatch everything, and then I aerated again with that spike aerator. Did that a couple times. Did a couple of the neighbors while I was at it. Did that, and then that was, I'm trying to think, that was most of my weekend, and wanted to get more done. But same thing like Bill, like when I mowed and everything, like I mowed it like 2 or 3 times, and honestly, I probably needed to mow it again before I put my seed down because it was starting to grow back. You know what I mean? But I was like, nah, I don't have time for it.
Yeah,
so.
I had mowed it low like the weekend before, but didn't have an opportunity with football practice and everything else leading up to this weekend. So I ended up, having to mow it a few times just because you have 2 passes and the bag's full, and so it's like stopping and starting and bending over, and oh my God, so tired, so tired.
Yeah. So then after, my son and my kids, they love helping. Actually, my son's like, if you dethatch, can I come out and help rake? I'm like, yes,
that's awesome.
Yeah, yes, you can. So I was going over it with the mower, sucking it all up, and they're raking piles. I mean, it was great help. Got all that done, and then so then a buddy of mine was like, hey, like I want to seed my boulevard. I basically killed it all off and all that, and he's like, I got this Walmart seed, and I'm like, do not use that. I was like, come over to my place. I was like, I'll give you some seed. So then I didn't have enough seed to, do what I wanted to do. Cause really I honestly wasn't thinking like a full out overseed. I was just going to kind of focus on my trench line. Mm-hmm. And then from that, I was going to kind of just expand from that and just kind of go out and kind of blend it in, but didn't have enough seed. So I was like, oh crap, plan B. So I ended up getting some different seed, but what I did for my dirt was we had a huge storm Thursday night and got 1.5 inches of rain. Well, the place where I was going to get the dirt from, just some topsoil, it's just out in the open, right? So I went Friday to get it, and we can't deliver, it's just mud. So I'm like, crap, now what do I do? So I ended up just going to like Tyson's, which is like a farm and home store, and buying bags of, I bought like some lawn soil, some manure, and then some bags of sand. I got all the broken bags and got them for half off. Nice. So I did all that, and I just mixed them like one bag in the dump trailer. Just mixed them all, broke everything up with my hands, and used a shovel and just sit there and mix it. And actually, I was really, really happy with what it looked like. I actually probably do it again multiple times with how it looked.
Yeah.
So did that, and like I said, spread that around. Just kind of drove around, threw the shovel around, used the Landsy rake to level it out. Did all that, and actually today I ended up getting some more today because I wanted to hit a few more spots. Did that like kind of all morning, and then went up to get my grass and went to United Seed in Des Moines. They're big in the Omaha area as well, Omaha, Nebraska. But went there, got my seed, got some a really, really nice 4-way blend, 4 or 5. I think it might be a 5-way blend. I posted on my story or on my Instagram of a real nice bluegrass. It's got Mazama in there, Blue Bank. It's just a real good one. But got that. Talked to those guys for a while, and then went up to D&K Products, which is like more of they do a lot for golf courses and turf pros and all that. Started talking to the owner, the president. He gave me a tour. We kind of walked around. They have everything there. The Andersons, they got Earthworks. Oh, they had the Milorganite, the professional grade Milorganite, 50-pound bag. How far
is this from you?
Like 40 miles. It's in Des Moines.
That's not bad at all.
No.
That's awesome.
So they had the professional grade 50-pound bag of Milorganite. I think he said it was like $11 for that.
Wow.
And I'm like, dang. So like they had that. I mean, they had any pesticide and fungicide, anything you need. I mean, they had it. It was a crazy place. And I picked up some other goodies that I needed for messing with my pH, some sulfated potash and some elemental sulfur. I bought those so I can work on my pHs. But yeah, so I talked to those guys. I mean, I was there like probably almost 2 hours just doing the tour and talking with them, just kind of getting to know them. It was pretty cool. And then came home and started mixing all the dirt, doing all that, getting that all down. And then my kid had a football game tonight. So I went out to his football game, flag football, watched him, then came home. And as soon as I got home, told my wife, I'm like, hey, like right now, I'm almost done, you know? So she's like, go ahead, you know, I'll get the kids dinner and all that. So I came home. When I was up at D&K, I bought 3 bags of the 333 Earthworks with mycorrhiza. So I came home, put awesome. That. Yep. So I came down, put that down right away. My thought was, you know, with all those holes from that aerator, get them in there, get them into the soil.
Yeah.
Did that, and then came back with my bluegrass. I put down like 40 pounds of it. Is probably what I put down on the whole lawn. Boulevards, everything. Did that. Used the spiker side bag spreader for like the boulevard and some stuff, and I did my spiker spreader for the rest. Got that all down, and then it was almost dark, and got on the lawnmower and got a roller and started rolling everything out. And I was out. It was definitely dark, and finished up about 8:45. It was dark, and finished, and then yeah, and so then came in and did the same thing you did, Bill. I got my sprinklers. What I'm doing for mine is I'm gonna run them. I'm gonna run 4 of them, or four programs, like 7 a.m., like 11, and then like 3 o'clock, and then like 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do 0.05 for all of them, but the one in the afternoon, when it's the hottest, I'm gonna do the 0.1 inches, and that way I get the in between as well for other sites.
Yeah,
so
that's a good idea.
That's my plan.
I
and I can always adjust it.
The once around is good. So this morning when I came home from work, I looked. 2 of the zones were still kind of wet. Other zones were already dry, and I looked, and I had seen that I accidentally had on there only water on even days. So today is like the 3rd. So like, okay, I'm glad I looked, and I walked around the lawn and saw, well, that doesn't make sense. Why are these 2 still kind of wet? And this area is like bone dry. Like this should at least be a little bit wet. So thankfully, I checked my settings, and I had it on even days only. So I fixed that. So technically, my other side of my yard hasn't been watered yet at all. So they'll get some in the morning tomorrow. So I'm 1 day behind on 1 yard only. So maybe not next Saturday, it'll be next Sunday on that half of the yard. I'll see some babies popping up.
But yeah, like
now we're good to go.
The same as you, like our weather is super nice. Like right now it's like 62 degrees outside. So super cool at night right now. It was only like upper 70s today.
Yeah.
So
awesome. This will be perfect.
Perfect weather. It's definitely go time. And with me doing bluegrass, you know, it's going to take a while. So I'm hoping like 2 weeks, you know, to have germination and stuff. I was going to mix some rye into it, but I decided not to actually. I just went straight bluegrass and let her rip. But you know, for me, I didn't do a ton of video. I didn't do a ton of like stuff because it was like I want to get it done. You know, like that's like
yes.
You know, kudos to all you guys that, you know, do a ton of video and all that stuff, because I'm just like, man, like last thing I want to do is get my GoPros out and set all that up. Like I did some cool stuff with the with that aerator, that spike aerator. So hopefully I can put some videos together this week. But that thing was pretty fun.
I got a few angles here and there in the beginning, but just towards the end, come like Monday afternoon, I'm like, number one, I just need to get done, and I want to be done. So I'm going to set up tripod here, boom, just whatever angle this is, and whatever I get, it is what it is, you know. And then I'm going to move it over here, call that a day, move it over here. Okay, I'm done.
That's kind of like even tonight, like I didn't do any video of seeding. I took one picture of the earthworks, but I was like, nothing for all that stuff. So I'm like, man, I got to get this done. And on top of that, this weekend, you know, my wife's one of those like, oh, it's September, it's fall. So now our house has pumpkins and flowers or, you know, fall leaves and everything's orange and all that stuff now in the house. And, you know, everything's out. So I walked in the house and she's decorating the house. I'm out in the lawn, and it's just like, oh man, I was like, we got a lot going on. And she's like,
no, I'm glad that we did it when we did and we got it done, because now I can look forward to hopefully a nice long fall where I'll have a good few weeks in there where the grass is growing good still, and I can get some really nice stripes in and just, have some fun out there to kind of finish my season. And I'm not cutting it so short, trying to squeeze in a last mow with like pants and a sweater on, just for the sake of getting it out there. I'd like to have a nice fall now to just kind of, enjoy the mow and hopefully have a little bit flatter, smoother yard where it's not so bumpy and I can get some good stripes in too. So definitely glad that it's all done now, and we got some good weather coming up for sure.
Yeah, like I said, now it's one of those you sit back and you kind of play the whole like I wish I would have game, or like did I do
one
this
more
right
thing? One more thing I could have done.
Yeah, should I have done this? Should I have done that? Yada yada yada, back and forth, but. Yeah, we'll see.
I aerated the backyard pretty heavy, and it got pretty soft in some areas, so it really tore some stuff up. But by the time I was done with that and got everything down, there was no way I was going to bring the roller down the hill and try to squish stuff around and like smooth it out. So, I'm thinking, as time goes on, the water, the sprinklers will do their thing, and maybe some of that stuff will kind of settle. And then as long as grass grows and gets kind of thick and bushy, maybe it'll fill out and it'll be fine. It won't be smooth back there, so next year, if things look good now, maybe I'll bring some dirt and put some dirt back there for fun, just to kind of fill in some spots that have kind of sunken in, and some stuff around the patios, build it up a little better, make it nice and more enjoyable to mow again. But for now, if it's just some nicer grass back there, that's enough for now. That's certainly like a bare minimum kind of thing for now. And we'll take it up a level next year if this turns out.
Yeah. What about you, Oli? What have you been up to?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't really done nothing. I got to get my button gear. I've definitely finally got all my irrigation parts, and I'm going to irrigate the shop. I smoked that 4,000 square feet off, and so it's going to get irrigated too, because there's a well over at the shop. So going to have that irrigated with some MP rotors, which I don't have any experience with, but that's going to get the MPs. And then that's going to be
3,000?
2,000s is what I got. Yeah. And, because that's going to be real mode. So I've got the Rolex 25 for that. So we're going to do some type of fescue that will be real mode. So that's going to be there. And then there's a small plot over there that I'm going to do 700 square feet of Kentucky bluegrass. It's a blend that's real similar to the 365, but it's a lot less that Heritage offers. It's a 4-way bluegrass. It's like 200 and some bucks versus 400 for 50 pounds.
That's that one I was looking at, right? That we were talking about?
Yes. Yeah. They call it the fairway blend. So I'll be able to real mode both.
Is it fairway or 4-way?
I think it's called fairway. Like like your But and then a ton of ditches over here at the house. Got a lot of stuff to do there. I'm hoping to get a sod cutter where I don't lose a lot of turf, where I can cut the sod, trench, roll it back down. We'll just have to see, and then hopefully video a lot of that stuff. But got a lot of zones to put in, a lot of wire, a lot of gluing, a lot of work to do. So. And I don't know if it's going to get done before or after Expo, but looking forward to Expo and Equip Expo. So
yeah,
lots of stuff to do. And I can only stretch myself so far. So we'll see. Might be November again before I put seed on the ground. We'll find out.
When you do seed, you're gonna run the stinger.
I got the stinger. Yep. I'm gonna do the stinger, and but probably do a basket weave. So set it pretty low on setting. That way I can do a north, south, east, west, and do a good, get some good covers, a bunch of holes, and then 333 is my starter, and then hopefully all my pipes are glued up then, and start over here be all I-20s with the 6-inch pop. So. And my well's doing pretty good. I can push about 5 of those per zone. So
Nice.
I can't wait to look, get all that cranked up and
Yeah.
rolling to where next year I won't be out at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning with a flashlight in my underwear and a t-shirt dragging hoses around. Just set that thing on go and let it go. Luckily, nobody's called the law.
Nice.
So I didn't get the big sexy Stinger like you have to rent, but I did get the one where it has a little cart in the back you can stand on and it pulls you along. And that thing is amazing. Like compared to the one you have to walk behind and kind of manually turn and manhandle each time you want to turn around. This thing is like, it is awesome. The turn radius blows, or you have to get really good at turning slow. And I don't know how well it pulled plugs going slow. I think you have to get some speed for it to really get some good plugs, at least for my yard anyway. But man, as you're going back and forth and you're flying, that thing is great. I mean, man, compared to the amount I was able to actually go over the yard last year to how much I did it this year, there's some spots where I think I hit it just for the sake of turning, which I probably got it more than anywhere else, but those areas, I didn't have any extra soil. There wasn't much going on back there and hadn't done much. So I think just by getting it extra aerated with some seed, that was great for those areas. But man, even if I can't get the sexy one next year, I would definitely highly recommend if somebody's going to do aeration, if they can get something where it can pull them along when they do it, if they have any size yard, it's like day and night compared to the one you have to walk behind.
That's
awesome.
the Stinger in a 30 inch is freaking wicked. That way you can get on most yards and not be too big. I actually have the 36 because I'm trying to knock out 3 acres, and that thing is a freaking bullet. You want to talk about fast? I cannot wait. It is quick. Awesome.
Yeah,
and you're dropping
a lot
seed.
more expensive to rent. I think it was like $350 to rent that one versus $250 for the one that I got. But do
they have them out there with the seed box where it saves you a trip?
Supposedly they did, but the one that they have was out of commission. It was missing. It was like they're waiting for a part or something. So maybe next year if it's not busted again. But yeah, I think it had a seed box on it too. Is it like a drop seeder? Is that how that one works?
Yeah, drop seeder.
Is the rate fairly? I don't know how quick you slow it down.
It's adjustable.
Yeah, so my favorite is I have it open too much and I dump all my seed too quick. That would suck.
It's actually got a chart on it telling you like how many pounds per thousand, and it's it's in depth. It's a super nice seed box on it.
Oh, sweet.
And what you'd set that to like half of what you want to do because you're going to basket weave.
Yeah, go twice over.
Have enough. So
well, maybe next year. We'll see. Yeah. It looks cool, and it looks like it would have it's short too. So again, like you're not something pulling along with you behind it. So maybe your turn radius would be a little bit better too on that thing. If it's, if you kind of maneuver more like a mower,
So and then you got the foot switch to where you can pop the tines up, spin around, pop the tines back down.
Oh, that's nice. Hey, that's even better. Yeah. Okay. That's great. The thing that sucks about this one is that it doesn't pull you very well unless the tines are down engaged. It'll kind of pull you, but not great. So you have to like step off of it and maneuver it around sometimes if you're trying to go uphill or something. But yeah, no, it was great compared to the one I used last year. Definitely would use this one again if that's all they had. Because I think aeration is awesome, and if you can do it every year, it's a small charge to do once a year. It's got a lot of benefits, so keep doing that. As long as I don't kill myself doing it. It seems like every year my projects get bigger, or at least the amount of dirt I buy is bigger and more.
Yeah, the big thing about them ride-ons is beware of roots and stuff of that nature. You get thrown off. You hauling butt across there and you pop a root.
Ooh.
And it doesn't forgive or doesn't give in. You have nowhere to go but up.
So when would you do that? It just basically whenever your timeline allows for you to finally get some seed down, you're gonna do all that. Or?
Yeah, well, I thought about doing possibly the front because it's all underground irrigation already.
Yeah,
I thought about maybe go ahead and do the front and where everything is irrigated at the moment. Go ahead and seed it and let it be doing whatever. And then as the other zones get put in, maybe just do that or just wait till it's all done and zip and get it seeded and get the 333 down. And
when you're getting ready to do just like seeding in your yard, you're going to aerate and stuff. Do you drop your height of cut significantly? I mean, you obviously you don't bag your grass though. You still side discharge everything, or do you bag it when you're doing that?
I got a bagger.
Oh yeah, you were talking about that. Yeah.
I want to know what you're gonna do with all those clippings once you collect them, and where the hell that's gonna go.
They're sitting right back there, stinking like you were talking about before. It's god awful. I would like to start turning them into compost. Is what I'd like to do. But you need greens and browns. Well, I got plenty of green. I'd have to find something to mix with it brown, but unless I had some older clippings that were dry, and then mix the fresh clippings or something. I had to figure out a system, but I did bag here because things had gotten sort of out of hand and had a bunch of crap on top and couldn't get it to dissipate. So I come in and I bagged it at 3 1/4. And buddy, let me tell you about a workout, but it is freaking clean. It is clean. I mean, it is clean.
Yeah.
And I don't want to bag every time, but what I'm hoping to do is maybe bag like once a month or every 4 cuts or something. Yeah. Throw a bag in there. Because it slows down progress a little bit because you got to go dump. But it's got 3 bags across the back. And I'm already looking where they got to upgrade to where you can take the 3 bags off and you can put a big like dump system right on the bottom. And then you just back up and it opens, with a switch. Never get off the seat.
Kind of like what those commercial motor guys use that sometimes you see like on the highways and stuff or whatever. That makes sense. Yeah.
It holds the same 12 and a half cubic feet or whatever, but you just never have to get off the seat.
Yeah. That would be something that you would find useful for sure if you start bagging it like that. I can't imagine. I'm over here complaining about my yard. It's like when I'm talking about getting up late at night to turn off my sprinkler off the timer, and you're out there already pulling your hoses around your yard. Like, oh God,
I'm so tired of that. I can't wait till that's gone. So, but yeah, what I'll do is I'll mow low, probably push it down towards 2 inches.
Yeah.
Core plug the dog snot out of it with the stinger. At that time, we'll be dropping seed. And, it'll be an overseed, so I'll be somewhere around 6 pounds to 1,000. And then once that's done, spread the Earthworks 333 because I want it in the holes, to try to get into the soil. And then it'll be time. I might spray some C3 and some like meso or something that day, as far as trying to keep back some weeds. The C3 to try to energize stuff. And then from there, it'll just be, 4, 5, 6 days, whatever, get some germination and be ready to rock some stripes before the end of the year.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, I was thinking about throwing maybe like tomorrow or the next day if I have time from getting everything around the house caught up. I was thinking about doing some like kelp, spraying some, whether it be soil hume or something like that, spraying some of that on there and just coat it with, put a heavy amount of that on there, and I might do that.
Well, that's the reason I like
too.
That's the reason I like the C3. It's kelp, humic, molasses, fish. It's
you can get that in hose ends too, right? They sell those in hose ends.
I think they're going to do away with the hose ends and they're going to go to straight gallons.
Okay.
To where people can just either fill up their old hose ends or just spray with their backpack spray or something.
Yeah.
Because it's the same concentration.
They had that up there. Then there was one, I took a picture of it. It was called Sea Blend. It was a 12-0-12 natural base fertilizer with kelp, fish, and crab meals.
Oh, wow.
I'll send it to you. But yeah,
that sounds chunky. That sounds chunky.
Dude, it's like they find a way to sell anything, man. All that leftover bullshit, they just grind it up and fucking sell it to guys like us at a premium. I love it.
It was
just put it in some water, bottle up, slap a lawn.
It was a granular fertilizer. Is what it was.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was granular.
Well, I mean, you think about the two things that's always grown turf or vegetables has been fish or chicken poop, and when you got all them together, or like worm castings. But when I was little, my granddad had some of the most amazing tomatoes ever, and what was in the bottom of every tomato hole was a fish head. So
gross.
It's amazing what.
But
yeah,
cool.
but it grows. It grows
really well.
Grow.
That's awesome.
All right, fellas.
Nice.
This is awesome, guys. This is fun getting all this off my chest. I'm exhausted, you guys. I'm so tired. Today at work, I was like trying so hard not to like go take another dump and just sit there in the bathroom for like, oh my God, I'm so sore. If I sat on the toilet too long, though, my legs would get all sore and start hurting on my ass. I'm so sore from shoveling and bending over and but it feels good. You know what I mean? It feels like a hard work, good weekend. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing my results here in a few days, week or so. You know, looking forward to it.
I think by Friday you're gonna have some sprouts.
Man, I hope so. I'm gonna keep watering. Dial it in.
Keep it the favorite M word and
moist
and meaty.
Moist.
Yeah.
Right on.
The nice thing about it being so cool is like in the mornings, I mean, it's damp. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, it's not sucking all that in the morning. It's not sucking everything off. It's just kind of sitting there. I was almost wondering if like because I think my first sprinkler goes off at like 7 or 8 in the morning. I was almost thinking about pushing that back a little bit. Yeah. But
I'll say when I sprayed the weeds in the backyard and the front yard, so I sprayed the weeds with quinclorac with some surfactant a week or two before I was going to do all this. It killed a lot of that stuff off, which was great. And then there were some areas where it didn't really do much damage. So I got some generic Roundup from and put that in my sprayer. And there were some spots in the front that I wanted to hit that some of that real old yellowish, gross looking grass. So I sprayed some of those areas, sprayed some stuff in the back just shy of a week before this whole thing. And to my dismay, the stuff didn't really do much. I mean, it turned a little bit lighter color. So I don't know if it'll continue to die off, but I thought it would have worked, you know, much quicker or whatnot. So those spots.
Is that a 41% glyphosate?
I think it is. I forget what, it's just some off-name brand. They didn't have all the brand name Roundup didn't actually have glyphosate in it. It was all some other bullshit, you know. So I wanted the glyphosate, so I had to find something else. But yeah, it was some 40 or 30 or some high, you know, just some high percentage, you know, concentrate, and I diluted it like you're supposed to. It didn't say to add anything extra, so I just put some dye to see where I was going to hit and sprayed that.
I'd say
so
about 14 days.
Yeah, so it could. I mean, with all the tearing up I already did, you know, if there was some damage, maybe that some of that stuff will die off in the end anyway. But you know, we'll see. If it comes back next year, I'll have to hit it. Maybe do a better job of hitting it once or twice leading up to, or doing it with more time. You know, more lead time, so I can see if it works or not. But so
normally when you have 41% glyphosate, somewhere around 2 to 3 ounces per gallon, and you spray it, it starts to fade out about the other time you get good growth. You know,
okay.
And
that may be what's going on, because it faded. It's yellowish. It was more light yellow than what it was before I sprayed it. You know, so it was definitely turning. So that maybe it would just continue had I not torn up the lawn. You can't tell now. Yeah.
I mean, I have sprayed the same day, let it dry to where you don't track it, like the whole place.
Mm-hmm.
Give it like an hour or two to dry off, come in, core plug seed. And by the time that's dying, next thing you know, you got like 1 inch, you know, coming right back in its place.
See, that's, I remember you had said that some like forever ago. And I was like, thinking to myself, I could have swore Oli said you could basically round up the same day as you seed, but the label's like, oh, you got to give at least 7 days. I'm like, well, Christ, I'm not quite 7 days out, but I swear to God, I only said that. So I'm still going to spray these things and we'll see what happens. So, you know, if they did die off or they are dying off, awesome. If not, we'll just do it again next year and you know, because I'll oversee it again no matter what, you know, so we'll see.
I think you'll be good, man. Can't wait to see some germination.
Can't wait to get some stripes back in my lawn. I'll tell you what, that's depressing.
But it's amazing how much it recovers.
But my neighbor, this guy, he is gone for the week, and he's like, "Hey, can you mow my lawn for him?" And I'm like, "Yep, I'll lay some stripe. I'm gonna stripe that shit up tomorrow or the next day or whatever." So since I can't get on my lawn for a while, I'm gonna do his.
I'd love it for this stuff to kind of dominate the current turf that was there. It would be nice if this Artemis, does germinate quick and, has some good, fills in real nice, because it'd be sweet to get some sexier stripes, and really get the lawn looking good. So, fingers crossed for sure.
Yeah. I think
Either way, it'll look good. Yeah.
It's going to look good.
All right, boys. This was awesome. I'm glad we got to get on
All
tonight and have a show. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. This was great.
Yeah.
Let's do it again next week, huh?
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. 1-0, baby. We got an offense. We got an offense.